Yo, all right, man, I'm back. Another video. So I'm answering this question right now because I posted a video last year in which I had a situation with the NBL Canada team, and it didn't go so well. But basically, I just showed you guys my situation and what went down, and just kind of the craziness that went down. But anyway, that's not part of the question. The question that the person asked me was, what can I do in order to get into the NBL Canada, as far as they wanted me to tell them when the camp was, when just the season started. You just give them all the information on Canada, or the league, the basketball league in Canada, right? So before we start, man, I don't want to pick on anybody, but it's so important I say this. Okay, like, if you are a player, man, and you're coming from an underdog background where you was NAIA, D2, D3, etc., you got to put in work, man, and not just on the court. You got to do some research. You got to actually look stuff up, man. And because you guys are asking me these questions, and this ain't the first time, I don't want to pick on people, but they're asking me questions that, like, people didn't ask me stuff about the G League, open tryouts, like, really asking me stuff like I work in the front office. Like, I'm part of the organization. And I'm just like, and I'll be looking at these questions like how would I know? Right? So let me help you guys today. Okay? So when you want to be a professional basketball player, right? And a lot of you guys don't have agents. You guys come to me with the agent problems. I understand that. Like I said, I've been there, done that. You guys come up with all these problems. But when you guys come up to me with these problems, I actually go, like, look stuff up, and I could go research stuff. And when I research stuff, I realize how easy it is to get this information. But what happens is you guys don't look it up, or you're lazy, or you don't even try. That's why I'm coming to the conclusion too. Like, you guys don't try. So let's go back to this question about the NBL Canada. Somebody asked me about the Canada thing. I go on the internet and look it up, and I find information. But before we get into that, man, before I tell you how I looked it up and how you can look it up or do this technique for anything any information you really want to know in the basketball world, like, I'll let you guys know how I got on in the G League, okay? When I got to training camp. Now, of course, I could sell you this story about how, it was out of 200 people, and I randomly got picked out of open tryout to go to training camp with the Grand Rapids Drive 2 years ago when that situation happened. But in all honesty, it'd be a lie if I told you that. It would be. It all started that season before going to the Drive. I was actually in Spain, and I was very unhappy in Spain. I didn't like my situation there. And so what I did was, I kind of put it in my head that I wanted to go to the G League because I had a son, and I was just like, man, I'm not trying to go overseas again. I'm kind of trying to stay closer to home. But I said, how can I go to the G League? I didn't have it. My agent was an agent in Spain who helped me not one bit. Didn't even help me with my Spain situation, barely. So I had no agent, basically. I wanted to go to G League, and I had no route. I had no network. I had nobody that could help me. So this is what I did. 6 months, 7 months, so the G League open trial was in September. I started doing research on it in, like, March. In March, what I did was, I said, okay, I know nothing. Where do I start? I looked up every team in the G League. Every single one. I'm telling you this for a fact. Now, with every team, I wrote down, you can go to the roster on these teams, right? And what you do is, you go to the roster, you look at the coaching staff, and I wrote down every coach's name. I wrote down the head coach, the assistant, the videographer, whatever name they could give me on there. I wrote it down. I wrote all the people in the front office. I wrote all their names down for every single team in the G League, right? Now, once I got their names, this was back when this is the year before they made it the G League. So this was the D League going to the G League. But anyway, that year they had a couple coaches had their emails on the website, so some of them was pretty easy to get in contact with because their email address was there. So I found their email address and I wrote that down with their name and I put their contact information next to it. So some had the email address. Now the ones I couldn't find email addresses to, I then went to Facebook. Okay, went to Facebook and I typed in every single name I didn't have an email address to, even the ones I did have an email address to. I typed the Facebook in. Found some of them on Facebook. Sent them a message on Facebook. Hey, my name is Cameron Vines. Planning to go on an open tryout this upcoming fall. Just wanted to give you some of my tape, some of my information about me. So you guys can have a eye out for me when I come. Hope to hear back from you, etc., etc. I did that to every person I found on Facebook. Okay. And now if I couldn't find them on Facebook, then I went to LinkedIn. Now, every professional person usually has a LinkedIn. So I found literally every coach on LinkedIn. That's why some of you guys should have a LinkedIn account. If I found them on LinkedIn, I messaged them on LinkedIn and sent them the same thing. Then I even looked on Twitter, found Twitters, hit people up on Twitter. What other social media did I use? I mean, that was pretty much it. I pretty much found everybody through those platforms. And so what I did then was I sent messages to all of them. A lot of them didn't return my emails, but the GM for the Grand Rapids Drive, he returned my email. I sent him an email. He returned it and said, hey, Cam, blah, blah, blah. Just started a dialogue with me and said, I'll check it out. And so I was like, thank you. I'll be sure to stay in touch. And, we go from there. So then about 3 months prior to the tryout, so I got home around this time. When I got home around like May, I then sent a follow email. So then I said, hey, just checking in to this G League. But then I sent it to every GM or every person that returned my stuff. I mean, videographers, it didn't matter. And I was like, here, just returning this, blah, blah, blah. Just wanted to check in, let you know how I did. Just keeping people updated on me, right? The people who actually responded to me. And I had about 6, 7, 8 people, maybe 6 people respond to me out of like freaking 50 people I emailed, right? And so, that GM for Grand Rapids continued to stay in contact with me. Like, oh, okay, good job. I'll see you in October or September. Cool. Gets to September. I go to the open tryout. As soon as I get there, I figure out which one is the GM. I go up to him. Hey, John. Hey, what's up? My name is Cameron. Me and you had some email dialogue back and forth, man. Just wanted to come introduce myself before the tryout, man, just so you keep an eye out on me, man. Yeah, nice to meet you. He said, oh, what's up, Cam? Yeah, nice to meet you. Blah, blah, blah. Left it at that. 2 weeks later, I'm getting a call back from him saying, hey, man, they really liked you here, man. So, yeah, come on. We're going to training camp. Just like that. Just like that. And I know it seems so easy that I just like showed up. I know a lot of you guys believe in this fairy tale shit, but I should have said this earlier, but I didn't just show up. I actually did my research. I actually like hit these people up by myself without no agent, without no help, without texting and hitting people up on YouTube, asking them for help. I actually did my fucking work. And that's how I got a lot of jobs. I literally was just networking and literally I would find a name of a coach and then I would just hit that coach up. And if that coach couldn't help me, he would send me to another coach, etc., etc. Next thing you know, I got a job. Now, of course, my resume helped me a lot, but I mean, half the battle was me. I did all this to myself. Not to stroke my ego, but I did a lot. And I'm not trying to give myself all the credit. There are a lot of hoopers who do this. Trust me. I've talked to guys. A lot of guys really put the work in of this magnitude. So, guys, when you ask me a question as far as how do I find out when the Canada camp is, for one, I'm going to tell you this. Canada season, I looked it up. They start preseason games November 18th. The person hit me up like the beginning of November, end of September. Bruh, you late. Talking about a camp? Like, they about to start the season. And you worried about a camp. And then it's like, how you gonna ask me all that, man? And I could just tell you ain't do no research yourself. It's like, come on, man, we got to do better than that. But I'm not going to continue to badger this down y'all throat. I'm going to teach you, okay? I'm going to teach you. If I was going to go to Canada again and I wanted to be on the team, this is what I would do, okay? Maybe this will help you for next season if you don't hear anything back this season, okay? So this is what I would do. I would go to the National Basketball League of Canada website. Now I looked on there. They ain't have no information as far as telling you what camp, when the camp is, etc., etc. So can't too much you can do about that. But what I'll do is I'll go to every single team. Okay, go to the team, look at the roster, maybe last year roster. Anyway, get the head coach, the assistant coach, get some of the coaches, write all their names down. If you cannot get the coaches, get the front office information, and you put that down. You put and they usually have the emails to the front office people because they want you to be in contact with them. Do that for every team. And then I will contact them and say, hey, because they are actually an organization, not me. I'm just a YouTube dude. You feel me? I'm on YouTube. I'm a hooper, but I'm on YouTube. I don't really know too much. I would say, hey, looking to going to the combine or some type of camp or anything. Do you guys have any workouts, any camps, anything set up for me to actually get a look? And I'm telling you, the front office people will return your text because they're not the coaching staff. They'll return and they'll tell you the information you need to know. They will tell you exactly what you need to know. So, I mean, pretty easy. You know, this game is political, man. They not letting niggas in. They not letting people in. Not to mention, it's 0.001% of players to get to play professional basketball. You have to do what the 0.001% don't do. Literally. Or what you think they don't do. You have to, if you gotta think like, nah, I ain't doing that. That's doing too much. That's what you need to do. Whenever you think that's doing too much, do that. Trust me. Because I'm telling you, there's some dudes who are going to be like, that's doing too much, and they going to stop. But where they stop, you just keep going. So that's what you do, man. If you want to find the information on this Canada stuff, hit up every team, front office, and just ask them. And if they say it's over, okay, when is it next year? If they don't know, then, you know, oh well, you know, you'll figure it out next year. You do the same thing 6 months in advance now. You learned your lesson. But guys, man, you got to do your own research. And trust me, it'll be way easier because I did it with the G League situation. The G League got 1 million people hitting them up a day. The Canada situation, they probably don't even got half of that. So you guys could probably get some real feedback from these coaches, etc., etc. Especially if you got game and you got film. It's not hard, guys. I mean, it's not hard to hit these people up. And just don't be afraid to hear no. All you need is one yes. You can hear 1 million no's. 1 million people can tell you, nah, you know, we not feeling that. You know, he knows I heard in my basketball career, you know, people said, oh, he ain't got the game, he ain't this, he ain't that, he ain't that good. And I ended up in a professional level. I ended up playing pro. I ended up almost being, you know what I mean, in the G League, playing with NBA players. I ended up, you feel me, farther than what people expected me to be. With no help, with barely no help, just a little bit of skill and the will to not be afraid to ask questions, the will to not be afraid to put myself out there. So I advise any of you guys who are kind of stuck, you know, ask yourself, are you really doing that work? Are you really putting in enough work where you actually can say like, all right, I'm hitting this. I've hit over 100, 200, 300 people up. If you can't say that, then you ain't did enough. Because there's dudes who's actually doing that, and they ain't got the amount of game you got. So, man, put more effort in, man. And, you know, just make sure you do your research before you ask a question of that magnitude. You can ask the question anyway, but I'm just going to tell you from now on, I'm telling dudes, look it up. That's going to be my response to the shit now. Look it up. All right? I'm out. Peace out. God bless you.